Codex saying done is not the same thing as Codex proving the work.
That difference sounds small, but it is where a lot of AI-assisted projects become risky. The agent may have changed files. It may sound confident.
It may even summarize the task in a way that feels complete. But maybe it never opened the page. Maybe it never ran the tests. Maybe the exported file is in the wrong folder. Maybe the video has visuals, but no audio. So this video is about one practical habit: before you trust the final answer, make Codex prove the work. I use a 6-check handoff whenever the result matters. The first check is scope. What did Codex actually change? A lot of AI coding failures are not dramatic. They are just messy diffs. You ask for one button fix, and the agent also restructures a component. You ask for a copy update, and it adjusts layout files. You ask for a small article, and it overwrites an older draft. So before asking whether the result is good, ask what is inside the result. For a code repository, that usually means checking Git status and the important diff. Codex should tell you which files were added, which files were modified, and whether anything looks unrelated to the task. It should also separate its own changes from work that was already in the workspace. That last part matters. Real projects often have unfinished local work, teammate changes, generated files, or old drafts lying around. A reliable handoff does not silently clean up everything it sees. It explains the boundary. The second check is task-specific verification. I checked it is not evidence. Useful verification depends on the kind of work. For code, the closest check might be unit tests, type checks, lint, a build, or a failing test that now passes. For a front-end page, it might mean starting the local server, opening the key screen, trying the form, checking the modal, and capturing a screenshot. For documents, it might mean reading the final file back, checking headings, links, placeholders, and terminology. For images, slides, or videos, it might mean checking dimensions, duration, audio streams, subtitles, and sample frames. The point is not to force every project into the same test command. If a repository has no test suite, Codex should say that clearly and use a reasonable substitute, such as file inspection, screenshots, structure checks, or a sensitive data scan. That is much better than claiming tests passed when there were no tests. The third check is evidence. The least useful final sentence is completed and verified. Ask Codex to show how it verified the work. Evidence can be simple. Which command ran, and what was the result? Where is the new file saved? Where is the screenshot? What are the output dimensions? Does the final MP4 have both a video stream and an audio stream? What did the sensitive data scan find? You do not need a full terminal log pasted into the final answer. You need a readable evidence summary: what was checked, what passed, and what was not checked. The fourth check is the final artifact. AI agents often inspect source files and forget to inspect the thing those files produce. For a web page, source code is not the final artifact. The page in the browser is. For a cover image, the script is not the final artifact. The exported PNG is. For a tutorial video, the HTML scene file is not the final artifact. The encoded MP4 is. Source files can look fine while the final result is broken. A page can build but have overlapping text. A cover can render with a typo. A video can export while subtitles cover the main content. So if the task produces something visual, exported, or shareable, add this rule: inspect the final artifact, not only the source files. Open the page. Check the image dimensions. Probe the video streams. Extract sample frames. Read the generated document back from disk. This step takes extra time, but it catches the kind of problems that confidence summaries miss. The fifth check is private data. If the result will be committed, shared, uploaded, or sent to someone else, scan for secrets and private information. Look for passwords, PI keys, tokens, cookies, verification codes, real user data, private customer data, internal URLs, and screenshots that reveal account details. These leaks do not only happen in source code.
They can appear in terminal screenshots, browser address bars, debug logs, example text, generated documents, video frames, or copied configuration snippets. That is why Codex should explicitly report whether it checked for common sensitive patterns. If the final output is public-facing, this check is not optional. The sixth check is uncovered risk. A professional handoff does not pretend that everything has been proven. Maybe the local build passed, but the change has not been deployed. Maybe the desktop screenshot looks good, but mobile was not checked. Maybe the document structure is complete, but it still needs a human editorial pass. Maybe tests ran, but they did not cover login, payments, messaging, or another high-risk flow. Those are not excuses. They are decision-making information. When Codex separates verified from not covered, you know what can be trusted and what still needs human judgment. Here is the prompt I would use after Codex finishes meaningful work. Do not just say done. Before handoff, run a verification pass. First, list the files that were actually added or changed. Second, use git status and the relevant diff to confirm the change scope. If this folder is not a Git repository, say that clearly and use file inspection instead. Third, run the most relevant checks for this task. If there is no test or build workflow, say so and use a reasonable substitute. Fourth, if the task produced a page, image, video, document, or other artifact, verify the final output file. Include paths, screenshots, dimensions, duration, stream checks, or readback results where relevant. Fifth, scan for passwords, API keys, tokens, cookies, verification codes, private URLs, and real user data. Sixth, finish with 3 sections: change summary, verification result, and uncovered risk. That prompt changes the standard from the agent says it is done to the agent has shown what it checked. You do not need this much ceremony for every typo. But use it when you are about to commit code, send work to a client, publish a video or article, touch external APIs, handle user data, or continue tomorrow from today's output. Speed is useful, but speed without verification is just a faster way to create uncertainty. The better habit is simple. When Codex says done, ask one more question. How do you prove it? If the answer includes scope, checks, evidence, final artifacts, safety, and remaining risk, the handoff is much easier to trust.